You've ever looked back on your time in a narcissistic relationship and asked yourself, why didn't I leave sooner? Why did I freeze up? And why did I let that happen? I want you to hear this clearly today. You didn't break. What you did is adapt. You did exactly what you needed to do to survive. And that matters. That deserves to be honored and not judged. I want to talk to you about what survival mode really is. When you're living under an emotional threat, when love feels dangerous and truth feels punishable, your brain shifts into survival mode. And that's not weakness, that's intelligence under pressure. Survival mode doesn't always look like running. Sometimes it looks like staying quiet, staying small, staying agreeable, because when you're with someone who punishes questions or punishes needs, silence becomes a form of safety. You didn't fail to stand up for yourself. You were protecting yourself the best way you could with what you had, and that takes strength. Let's talk about how you adapted by revisiting some of the ways you protected yourself, maybe without even realizing it. At the time, you may have seen these behaviors as flaws, and maybe you still do, but what if they were actually signs of your brilliance under pressure? Maybe you became hypervigilant, constantly scanning the room, trying to predict their next mood. That wasn't weakness. It was your awareness. Your nervous system was doing its best to keep you safe. Maybe you became a people pleaser, trying to smooth things over, avoiding conflict, keeping the peace. That wasn't failure. It was emotional intelligence activated under threat. You were reading the room with precision and adjusting to survive under threat. Maybe you disassociated mentally, checking out when things became too much. That wasn't giving up. It was your mind offering you a break when no one else would. A self-preservation instinct kicking in when the world became too unsafe. That's what you were doing. They weren't signs that you were broken. They were signs that you were adapting, and you did it brilliantly in an environment that kept shifting the rules and blaming you for the fallout. Even staying in the relationship, what others might judge, may have been a form of a strategy. You weren't weak. You were pacing yourself, calculating risk, conserving your energy, and protecting what you could. Maybe you stayed because you were gathering strength, waiting for a moment when the door wasn't just open, but when it was safe to walk through it. That's not surrender. That's survival. That's wisdom under fire. And here's a part I really want you to hear. The strategies that once protected you, like going quiet, shrinking yourself, reading every expression in the room, they were never signs of weakness. They were signs of your intuition, your awareness, your strength under pressure. And if you're still using those strategies, that makes total sense. And if you've reached a place where those strategies are now too heavy, the silence is stifling, or hyper-awareness is exhausting, that's not failure. That's your nervous system beginning to ask you, is it safe enough to do things differently? That questioning itself is a sign of healing. That shift, that recognition, it's part of healing. Because when real safety begins to root, whether it comes from the people around you or the strength within you, you no longer have to live in survival mode. You get to breathe. You get to pause. You get to respond instead of react. You get to say, that's not mine to carry anymore. Adaptation brought you this far. Empowerment will carry you further. Every step matters. Even the ones that no one else sees, especially those, because the truth is you don't have to leave to begin reclaiming yourself. Sometimes the most powerful shifts happen while you're still in it, when your spirit stirs, when your clarity sharpens, when your boundaries start to whisper instead of beg. The first time you said no and didn't explain it. The moment you caught yourself people pleasing and then stopped. The day you felt peace and then let yourself hold on to it. The moment you recognized gaslighting for what it was and thought, not this time. These aren't signs of being broken. They're signs that something inside of you is waking up, rising, remembering, and reaching for freedom in whatever form you're ready for it. And that's not weakness. That's your power returning. And whether it's a whisper or a roar, it counts. So let's celebrate what might seem like small moments, but they're not small at all. If this speaks to you, I invite you to comment, I am Annie, because Annie is more than a name. Annie is a movement, a reflection of every man, every woman rising from silence, standing in truth, and reclaiming their life on their terms. And if you're not there yet, if you're still unraveling lies and finding your footing, hold this vision close. Because what you're feeling right now is not the end of your story. Empowerment is coming, and it's already beginning. And for those who are new to this podcast, I'm Kyle Hackley, attorney and author of Undercurrent. It's a story about a woman named Annie who finds the courage to break free from her narcissistic marriage and the extraordinary life waiting for her on the other side. Annie is any person, any man or woman that's ever experienced narcissistic abuse. And as always, I want you to know that you are stronger than you ever believed. And I want you to be tenacious and never give up on what's important to you. And to everyone here, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up and for building this beautiful, strong, truth-telling community. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep healing together. And yes, we're all going to be okay. I appreciate you. Until next time, take good care of yourself. Thank you so much, and bye.